Yes, hello, my dear viewers out there. Here's Arti from Translated Press. Today I have the great honor to present to you Trump of Berlin. We invited him, we had already recorded something with him a few weeks ago. He is Martin from Berlin, he is a real estate broker. He has agreed to come again today to broadcast live with us. I wanted to say one thing. We got some comments from you viewers out there, my friends. And some of you have said, oh yeah, now you don't want to do any more translations. But listen, this is not true. We will continue to do translation. That's our main object. We are concentrating mostly on translations. However, we created this show because we like to do translations also in English. And this program that we're doing now today is one of them. For about 30 minutes, we will translate it in from German to English, and then we will put it in our English channel, which is actually the main reason why we came up with this idea. Only so that you know what we are doing with this, what is our intention, and that we will stand by you, by our pledge that we continue to do translations. From now on, also in English, you can watch it on the English Translated Press channel. English. Und die kann man dann auf den TranslatedPressEN, also auf Translated. I thought this was needed. Now we go to Martin from Berlin. He is here. Hello, Martin. Good evening. How are you? Well, it's all a bit stressful in Berlin because there is the total chaos that has broken out after the elections here in Berlin. Oh yes, you can say that again. It can be seen everywhere in press and communications, media. They report that the election parties are already agreeable, and we know that Mrs. Merkel will not be with us anymore in a short time from now. We also know that her political party, the CDU and the CSU, have lost the election, and it's pretty sure that they will not be back in power again. Yes, the CDU and his candidate have given themselves a kick in the butt. They don't even know what they are doing. They don't have no candidate, but this does not mean that things will suddenly change in Germany just because the CDU does not have a part in it anymore. The Socialists and the Green Party can cause enough chaos together for that, so they do not need Merkel's party because all the candidates of the Socialists are entirely unfit to lead and have a capable government of a former successful country, which we are not anymore now. I'm convinced that the chaos will be more than before. You can see that masses of entrepreneurs are packing their luggage and leave the country. Factories and businesses are going to foreign countries where they are appreciated and well treated, where the people honor them and their work is being recognized, where work and success is being rewarded. They go to Czechia and Poland en masse. I can foretell you that in this constellation we see right now the federal government in Berlin and the local governments in the federal states are preparing for total chaos in Germany. Well, it's all a bit stressful in Berlin because there is the total chaos that has broken out after the elections here in Berlin. Oh yes, you can say that again. It can be seen everywhere in press and communications, media. They report that the election parties are already agreeable, and we know that Mrs. Merkel will not be with us anymore in a short time from now. And we also know that her political party, the CDU and the CSU, have lost the election, and it's pretty sure that they will not be back in power again. Yes, the CDU and his candidate have given themselves a kick in the butt. They don't even know what they are doing. They don't have no candidate, but this does not mean that things will suddenly change in Germany just because the CDU does not have a part in it anymore. The Socialists and the Green Party can cause enough chaos together for that, so they do not need Merkel's party because all the candidates of the Socialists are entirely unfit to lead and have a capable government of a former successful country, which we are not anymore now. I'm convinced that the chaos will be more than before. You can see that masses of entrepreneurs are packing their luggage and leave the country. Factories and businesses are going to foreign countries where they are appreciated and well treated, where the people honor them and their work is being recognized, where work and success is being rewarded. They go to Czechia and Poland en masse. I can foretell you that in this constellation we see right now the federal government in Berlin and the local governments in the federal states are preparing for total chaos in Germany.
Massenabwanderungen finden hier statt und ich kann eins auf jeden Fall voraussagen: Chaos kommen.
How do you perceive all this in comparison to the United States? We know that you are a fan of Trump and that in a certain area you are called the Trump of Berlin. Can you tell us why that is? Well, I'm a very direct kind of tough guy, always telling it like it is. Unfortunately, it's like that, so I just go ahead, and in that way I'm a little bit like Trump, and the way I am doesn't let me take a lot of friends. People often make progress in political careers or in life in general through friendships, making contacts, and of course it is difficult if you always say what you think. But Trump said before, better to have only few friends, but the right ones, instead of many wrong friends. They stab you in the back, as it happened to Trump before. Yes, I can understand that. Say, what are you afraid of now in Berlin? Because we have heard in the media that Berlin is practically burning. We see such pictures here where we ask ourselves, my God, what is happening there? Yeah, and you have had some of that happen to you. You live on the spot straight right there in the middle of Berlin. How can you explain that? And how do you think that we can control something like that, respectively? Do you think that the government that is coming now will be prepared for that? It is not the Merkel CDU-CSU government, but it is a completely new constellation out of three different parties. Do you think that they can handle that? Or won't it be possible for them to get a grip of all of that commotion that's going on in Berlin right now? I believe we are getting similar conditions as in America. In my opinion, they have this development rather underestimated, similar to the authorities in the USA. The guilt shame certainly has many crucial positions. Trump had to change some positions, leaving them behind, but the dimension that the left-wing radicals here and the do-gooders have reached into the judiciary has been completely undermined by leftists, by people who do not want the peace, but yes, get intoxicated when there is chaos. In my opinion, that is the development here. However, one must say that the protests in Berlin are now so that the senator, the man who is responsible for the police forces, Andreas Geisel, from the socialist SPD party, has gone completely overboard here with his police force that attacked peaceful people and also people who did not do anything at all, who did not become violent or similar or aggressive. And still, there was from the beginning the order from above to retaliate. Yes, unfortunately, the police officers are trained to do that, to become relatively aggressive there, because the process here is always to become more violent, so that people get intimidated and afraid. And yes, now it's going on in Berlin after the elections, just like before. It cannot get any better, I claim that. There is not even a wish to make any changes, because I tell you this, if I was only for one day the responsible guy for the police authorities, I would break this apart. and do it differently. Imagine you cannot beat on people that are peaceful. And just because they refuse to use a mask or are not willing to get vaccinated, these violent scenes, where do we live? I mean, these pictures of what's going on, that is really not imaginable. America partially has a similar development and situation in their cities. I'm telling you, if there are no people strong enough to govern this country, we go down to the pits. And if there is not a peaceful togetherness like it was under Trump, who was during his term in office, did not start a single war. And he was very successful. He was handling the Taliban, he negotiated with, and soon Biden comes in, you have a war-like circumstances. The American troops march in there again, and the Taliban sent their people to Germany and to Europe. Unimaginable what is developing right now. So I'm firmly convinced that people urgently need a strong person to lead them, coming across convincingly anyone who is also responsible for his people in its best way. Therefore is always America first the most important slogan. But times the Democrats fought him very hard there with all the means. Also the media was fighting Trump. In Germany we have the same situations now. Just like in America, we are being bored. Whoever is not faithful to mainstream gets kicked out. Doing journalism and criticizing or not being faithful to the German government ideology makes you lose your job. That's how it is in America and also now in Germany. At the moment, there is a unity association between Germany and America in a war against the people. That must be said honestly and in the open. The world has to know what's going on here. This pandemic is now being used to subjugate. There's no pandemic here in Germany. For example, constantly the media is inciting the people that are not vaccinated. There are claims that the hospitals are full of people with several cases, but there are no severe cases for needs to ventilate people that are not vaccinated. Now they try forcefully to vaccinate the children, even pregnant women. So here in Germany, everything is on fire right now. In politics, no one is ashamed to continue with the sneaky, lousy, anti-people stuff, driving us all crazy. I'm totally horrified how many money and power greedy people are surrounding us. You just can't imagine these dimensions. It is simply unimaginable. It is very sad these times we live in, but in the last several hundred years, evil has never obtained victory. In the past, the most brutal political leaders have always lost. I'm in the hope that the Germans, also the American people, will remember the strength they have and react standing up. The more people rise, and I believe that Trump is working on it. I believe that he has survived 7 attempts on his life. This is what I've heard. I remind you all, Kennedy, who was recognized the system of the gold diggers wanting to relieve the people that are hostage of the money system. It's the people who need to get moving against these greedy money barons who buy everything, the ones who delegate political interests tremendously. Yesterday I read that Zuckerberg supported the Democrats during the election with $230 million. Imagine, $230 million. One cannot imagine that. They have totally falsified the elections with their money. Interference. You cannot imagine what is happening around us. We think we live on a peaceful planet. But at that moment, all the idiots are having time off right now. They are not in the institutions where they always belong, but they are walking freely amongst us. We can only hope that the situation is going to change soon, and that the people with the military who have some power are doing something about all this insanity. It would be great if our Putin would be involved. By the way, I have just seen a Putin interview where they wanted to pay him with cryptocurrency for his natural gas pipes. Can you imagine that stupidity? Putin is clever. They cannot screw him over with his oil and gas reserves by kryptonizing his mineral wealth. He is a completely sane guy. It is completely fictitious currency, in quotes, without a background. This would be an expropriation deposited through the back door, yes? Putin denied with a smile. I thought it was really great how he did that.
Unser Putin da ist ja schlau, nicht? Der lässt sich ja nicht sein Gas oder sein Öl verkryptonieren in eine völlig fiktive Währung, in Anführungsstriche, ohne irgendwelchen
My dear Martin, excuse me, how do you see actually the developments in Germany? I'm here in Colombia, you know that, right?
Ja.
Yes, you are safe and I envy you.
Ja, du sitzt da sicher, beneide dich.
I have had enough. I'm now healthy again. I feel much better. Tell me, how do you see the outcome of the elections, which is well known? Our listeners also know that Mrs. Merkel now supposedly says goodbye to politics, but we don't know yet when. And that the new government is being formed and the party of Mrs. Merkel is completely down in the basement. There's nothing left now at the moment. But how do you see that? Will there be a change? Will it go on with these three parties negotiating right for a coalition? What is your opinion? You imagine that in Germany, allegedly only 2/3 of the population, barely 2/3 were vaccinated and the rest were not vaccinated. And in Berlin, the people that you know, to what extent do they say yes to the mandates? I mean, are they standing up against the system? How do you see that? I mean, are they going to enslave us completely because of our way of thinking? And is there still someone like the Donald Trump in Germany? Or is there a political order which in the future can intervene? What do you say? Gibt es so jemanden wie den Donald Trump in Deutschland? Oder? Yes, I think times in Germany still bear hope, as well as someone like Trump in America. I cannot see that in Germany, even though Mrs. Merkel officially is not anymore the big cheese in our politics anymore. She still does determine her strings behind closed doors. She has all her people in certain positions in the EU, and they will certainly continue with a real good job. And I don't think that times will change at all because they have everything under control. So to speak, whether you belong to the SPD, the Socialists, the CDU, the Conservatives, or the Green Party, or even the left, yes, there happens nothing at all. The only party that here in Germany could possibly get a change is the AfD, the extreme conservative party. However, they are so busy going on with internal fights amongst themselves. They just keep fighting. They cannot make normal politics anymore. If you look at the Berlin Regional Association, for example, or the state associations of the AfD here with us, the state of Berlin is one of them. Berlin will not change with the AfD because they are too busy with their indoor fights, and they lack a personality where one could say he or she could lead now a country having the directives to do so. Merkel herself had once said, you cannot rely on that, what you want to do before the elections, after the elections are over. So she has actually recognized that once you say something, you're not always able to keep what you promise, but the people themselves will forget fast. Berlin in Germany is totally in chaos. You cannot imagine the dimensions at all. Not one way, not one single imagination can really imagine it. And kind of chaos is present and is being fought. One simple example, Germany's totally built it full of building shit up to the max. I've never had any experiences like that, never seen it in my over 60 years that I now live. I have not experienced that there are so many construction sites in Germany. Every city has a one-way traffic light roads. They all torn up. The highways are torn up 2 or 3 times. And although it is still in good shape and very functionable, it gets destroyed because they are in a fancy to build everything brand new, all of Germany, and it's all about the motorists, the cars, the driving. They're spoiling people days, and they travel. They go through all the inconveniences to do that. That's what it's all about. I don't want to be an accountant of these building ministries who allegedly pays or does not pay the costs for these mammoth buildings. As with the large airport building, they simply cook the books, saying we need so and so many billions to build the opera in Hamburg or the airport in Berlin, where they allegedly bury in several years all the money. All these losses with the first bankrupt procedures, masses of companies have never received any money at all from that. And this money is being moved over to other budgets, just cooking the books. And all these funds get mixed up with each other, and another different household is bleeding to death. Joschka Fischer, the former foreign secretary of Germany, said once, in order to kill Germany, one must burn senselessly all as much money as possible. On the one hand, they want to abolish the internal combustion engine, the diesel motor, and build only electric cars, which I consider a total chaos. Tesla is one of these companies, totally wrong.
Hunderte von Milliarden, aber das ist denen völlig egal, weil die sagen, wir crashen diese.
They have plans to build more highways in Germany, and on the other hand, they want to have no more cars. Then again, you need all new highways now costing hundreds of billions, but they don't care because they say we delete this whole system anyway, so we throw the money around even if it's pointless. Berlin alone cannot imagine at all what is going on. Maybe we can at the next interview talk a little bit more about the subject. I have pictures, and I make more pictures Berlin in the construction sites. I have at least 50 photos I can support you with all of my sayings and everything I'm bringing up here. I need here only in my area within a radius of 5 kilometers. Take a walk and take the pictures, and then everyone can shake his head. In former times, there were traffic planners. These guys were educated people to plan traffic. That was their work, and it is affected as little as possible. These are engineers, clever minds, but engineers are people that can make a plan. They are definitely no longer present in Berlin. Chaos, as I said, is in every aspect. Only chaos. That's all we have.
50 Stück mal, ich brauche hier nur in meiner Gegend, gesagt, in jeder Hinsicht Chaos, unvorstellbar.
Was ich noch kurz ansprechen wollte, Entschuldigung, ich wollte dir nicht ins Wort fahren,
Ja.
aber wir haben
Sorry, I did not want to interrupt you, but we have now only about 7 minutes left. What I wanted to talk to you about is the elections in Berlin, because it is now within the mainstream media throughout Germany also known and has become obvious that there was an election fraud in Berlin, and there is talk that the elections in Berlin should be repeated. What do you know about that?
sollen. Was weißt du darüber?
Na, das ist richtig. Aufgrund der Vielzahl der
Well, that is true due to the variety of the manipulations that people had to stand in line for hours to cast their vote, but then many of them did not even reach the ballots. And after 1.5 hours, they decided to go home again. Later, it was discovered that people were elected that have not even been on the list of candidates. They were ballots which had been already filled in. I want to say that is, if it wouldn't have been fair, or if it would have been fair, let's say it this way, I don't believe that it was. The elections would have to be repeated without a doubt. If they keep insisting that in Berlin everything was done in a fair and correct way, then it should be clear to everyone that elections in Germany make absolutely no sense anymore, because there are no independent elections, there are no control observers present. We have the same problem that the USA has. It is clear that something is not right anymore. We have districts where there were absolutely not one single AfD ballots to be found. None. Even though there are many people who outed themselves saying that they have voted for the AfD party. But in their districts, there was no ballots to be found. We know that there was a total of 3 international election observers, control observers in the entire country present. That is a joke. In our last big election, there were about 60 international election observers or controllers present. This time only 3. Right now we are so deep in the mud, this cannot be recuperated anymore. One gets depressive. People are stressed out because of the mass insanity. Now they want only the vaccinated to be allowed to enter supermarkets for buying food. If that goes through, we will have a civil war in this country going on. And the federal state of Hessen, they want to let only vaccinated people enter the supermarket. What about the non-vaccinated people? They want to force with all possible aggressiveness people to get vaccinated. It is not even a vaccine, it is an experiment, nothing else. Nobody actually knows what is in there. The side effects, the death, the injured. It is such a giant number. One can go on the website where these victims are all being counted, thousands and thousands. One cannot imagine what is going on. Trump should, as soon as possible, send this small group of rulers to Guantanamo and take them out of their jobs. Otherwise, the world will lose itself. Well, we can see things in Germany are not much different than they are in the USA right now. The way you are reporting this to us and how we can imagine this and recognize this is we are going the same path the Biden government is going in Washington. Today we have seen that Berlin is burning. In Berlin, cars are burning out on the streets. Mass of cars, Arti. Mass of cars almost every day. Almost every day cars are being burned in Berlin. One cannot imagine what is going on here. So it is like in the USA, violence is increasing. The mandates, the force to vaccinate. In some German federal states, people are being withheld to enter a supermarket to buy food unless they are vaccinated. That is an immense debate which we should talk about in another stream in the future. And one cannot see any relief of such mandates. No, because since the origin of these mandates comes from the USA, one can only crack the nut by having the USA doing its first step to change things. For that, the people have to rise and stand up, defending their rights. Some governors have understood that, but I hope that the governors of Texas and Florida, right? It is Florida, right, Arti? Yes. I believe that they are defending themselves. They should stick to it. I can only recommend to them to go to your path and be straight, resist the left courts. It is like in Germany, the same thing. We have the same problem. Germany and the USA have never been so much alike as they are right now. unfortunately in a negative way. We like to wrap it up. The 30 minutes are now over. I'd like to thank you, my friend, for your time. Next Tuesday we come again together at 8 p.m. Our next subject will be announced to our viewers on time. In the meantime, I will translate this video into English for our English-speaking viewers on our US channel. I thank you very sincerely, my dear Martin. I wish you a great week. We see each other again next Tuesday at 8 p.m. live by Trump Berlin. All the best to you all out there. Bye bye.